Gaming NBS episode 194 coming to you Wednesday, June 6th, 2018. Welcome to Gaming NBS podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brett. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome back. Glad to have you all here. Woo! We had a hell of a weekend, Sean.
Woo!
We had a damn good weekend.
Woo!
A little Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And we have to have a Ric Flair because we had Papa Swick was in town.
Yes.
Wrestling podcast guy. There you go. So Joe is a longtime friend, supporter of the show, friend of the show, all that good stuff. And he was looking for a little gaming escape weekend. We were able to hook him up with us, Wayne Humphley. We had Kev came down from the Twin Cities. We had, good grief, we had Eric Farmer showed up. It was pretty cool. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good gaming done. I ran some Trail of Cthulhu. We had a good time. We had a bag of squirming baby fingers, so a little callback to dead babies. That was always good. And I got my ass kicked at Lords of Waterdeep.
Well, I mean, did you come in last?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I came in last.
Okay.
Well, Kevin and I had never played before, and we both looked at it afterwards and went, that's a damn good game. That was a lot of fun. Now that I know how it works, I'm totally going to play better next time. I didn't feel bad losing, you know. It's a good game. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's like when Kevin mentioned about not getting into the Waterdeep and the D&D themed games, but it doesn't feel like a D&D themed game unless you get into the meta.
Yeah, if you...
It's orange, black, white, purple.
Yeah, it's...
Resources, meeples.
It's worker placement, resources, and meeples and stuff like that.
Right.
If you just say thieves, wizards, clerics, that type of thing, the rest of it's just trappings. It's just fancy gilding upon the rest of it. But it was a fun game. Right. Word is, if I remember, I think Mo Tusino does not like the game.
Seriously?
I think he has said that before. I'm not sure.
Did you literally just
if Mo listens to us anymore. Well, if he knows it, if he's still listening, he can correct me if I'm wrong. And I have talked to other people like, I don't like it because they don't like the setup time. Or some people just flat don't like worker placement games or resource management like that. So that could be a turnoff I could see. I could see that.
I see. Yeah.
What else did we play? You guys...
Lovecraft Letter.
Oh, yeah, Lovecraft Letter. That was a lot of fun. That was a damn good time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Paris, was that one? Card game?
No.
You weren't there for that. That
I
was at the bar. You left.
Played Set. Kevin and Joe played Set.
That's right.
So if you're not familiar with Set, it's kind of a Mensa kind of game where you flip cards over on a table and they have different color, different shape, different shade. And some have different, like it might be 2 diamonds, 3 diamonds, right? Different color, different shade. And a set is having 3 of 4 commonalities or no commonalities.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. So you play, and what happens is if you see it, you say set, and then you grab the combination that would be a set. And it's I don't know, man. I look at it and go, I could stare at the table for like 10 minutes and not see.
I don't see anything. What is it with you people?
Exactly. And then, somebody could come in and go, oh, it's set right there. It's
interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
I think Farmer ran some BX for the guys on Sunday before everybody split down, so that was kind of cool.
He did
saw some pictures of that. That looked good.
Yeah, he did run BX. So
sweet.
Fun
good little
weekend.
Good little mini weekend vacation gaming goodness.
Yeah, something.
And, excuse me, let's see. Gamehole.com, we've talked about submissions. Those are open. We hope to get Alex Camera on the show. Alex actually was gracious enough to let us actually play at the Gamehole. Yes. So, once again, I was able to run Trail of Cthulhu at the head of Alex's gaming table in his wonderful confines there. That was awesome. Alex is just awesome all around. A scholar and a gentleman.
Yes.
So, hopefully we'll get him back on the show, talk a little bit about Gamehole, what's new, what's cool. I think we might get Ed Greenwood back on, too. I hear he's hankering to talk to us, so let's see if we might be able to make that happen. And let's see. Oh, EverCon. Our submissions opened up on June 1st, so this drops on the 6th. So by the time you hear this, we'll have had our submissions open for about 5 days, 5-6 days. So hopefully if you can make it to EverCon 2019, get out there, link in the show notes, evercon.org, and see if you can get up there and run some games for us. That'd be cool. You got anything else, man?
EverCon.
Oh, my God. You got any more announcements?
No, I do not have any announcements.
Let's random encounter then.
All right. Random of the encounter. We have a voicemail this week, Brett.
Damn. All right. Who called?
Yeah. GM Kojo.
Oh, nice. Cool.
You know
Lay it on
him.
me.
You know him.
I do. Lay it on me, brother.
All right. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is DM Kojo, Corey Gosman. Just wanted to give you a call and let you know how much I enjoy your show. I was kind of a latecomer to the show. I just started listening last year, and I've kind of been, cherry picking episodes as I've gone along. But being a teacher and having summers off, I always try to commit to going back and listening to the backlog of episodes of a given podcast as I do my summer outdoor work and all that kind of stuff. So you guys have won the sweepstakes, and you are going to be the podcast that I'm going to go back through and listen to back episodes on, starting all the way back at the beginning. So I've actually already listened up through episode 12 and really enjoying the older episodes. Episode 12 specifically, game balance. I know this is a blast from the past from like 3 years ago, but just thought I'd give some thoughts on it. Game balance, to me, I'm very much with Brett on this. I'm not too worried about game balance. I like when character classes are somewhat balanced in the idea that they all can contribute something of value. This is something I really like in Dungeon Crawl Classics, is that every class feels like it has something unique that it can do that can be helpful to the party. But as far as encounters go, game balance, I don't worry about it at all. In fact, if an old school adventure says it's for levels 4 through 8, and my party's at level 2, I'm not afraid to throw them into that. I might tweak some things here and there, but basically they have to play smart. And if they run into something tougher than they are, they have to run. Now, I do always leave them a way out, multiple ways out, in fact, if they are using their heads. But if they, when it comes to combat, there is no balance in my book. Sometimes they're going to be vastly overpowering the enemy, and sometimes the enemy is going to be way more powerful than they can handle, and they got to take off and run. So, challenge ratings, I don't have any interest in. I'm all about just throwing encounters out there and making sure that my players have a good time and that they have options to role play their way out of things instead of just combat. So that's my thoughts on episode 12, and you probably get more thoughts along the way as I make my way through the back catalog this summer. The topics are really thought-provoking and interesting, and I'm really enjoying them. So keep up the great work, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
That's very kind of you, Kojo. Thanks, man. I can't hear you, Sean.
Sorry, I had myself muted.
There you go. Now you're better.
Yeah, thanks, Corey.
That was very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. He agrees with Brett. Well, every dog has his day.
Yeah, even in the midst of the Year of the Kelly, halfway through Year of the Kelly, I get a like. So that makes me feel pretty good.
It's all right.
I get it.
So there's Game Balance, episode 12. Holy shit. Going back, way back in the time machine.
What'll be interesting, actually, is Kojo and other people who I have not gone back and listened to, everything we've done over the year. I've listened to every episode we've done.
That's when we were liberals.
When we're way back. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see what somebody like Kojo or other people who are recently digging into the past who also happen to listen to some of the newer stuff to see if anything's changed. I mean, I'm actually tempted to go back and grab a couple of those old episodes and see, do I even agree with myself anymore, or have things changed? Because we all grow and we learn new stuff as we go. So very cool. All right, thank you again, Kojo. Next up, we got Blake Ryan. Emailed us about a Cold Shadows episode, which was the last one, 183. Blake says, good day. Cold Shadows. There's a lot of fun to be had in the Cold War. No mobile phones or internet. Makes you have to work harder to get information, and the quality of information is easily tampered. You could run a game around lead up or fallout of key events. Prague Spring, Bay of Pigs, Moscow Olympics, for example. Since it's a game, you're not limited to just history. You can add involved parties to the events to give your games more meat to chew on. For example, have MI5 or Mossad involved in the events leading up or the fallout from the Cuban Missile Crisis. There are tons of bizarre little events that have happened you can also flesh out. Example 1, the Stasi, East German secret police, have rooms full of jars with samples of people's scent. These were taken to allow dogs to easily find people. So you can have a mission where you try to remove some, replace some, or discredit the whole practice. Example 2, a Bulgarian dissident was assassinated in 1978 with ricin and a ridiculously nasty poison. So maybe your team are trying to rescue some doctor who was kidnapped to make the formula, or maybe you want some more of it as leverage. Not everyone who crosses the line is out for cash in fiction or real life. Some did it because they were blackmailed. Others did it because they were genuinely believed in the ideology of their nation. Don't limit your sides to CIA, KGB, or MI5, or replicas thereof. There are other agencies and cells from similar places with very different agendas, from the IRA, French intelligence, or PLO. Excuse me. Other films you might want to reference: Falcon and the Snowman, Munich, The Jackal, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Firefox, and The Assignment. Fantastic fiction TV series to watch for Cold War life in the U.S. is The Americans. I've heard that, Sean. I should have mentioned that. I had that in side notes, but I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I have watched all The Americans up through season 5, and I think season 6 is the current season, and I think I can get those on FX,
Nice,
YouTube or something. I think I have access to that.
Okay. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
He goes on. Aha, here we go. Another good documentary series is Secrets of the Cold War, narrated by Charlton Heston. Secrets of War - Cold War, narrated by Charlton Heston. You can use plots for other games. So your B&E agent is hired by a bunch of heavy hitters from across the pond. You have to go with them to get a map and the details of a new weapon in R&D. You have to keep quiet about what you're up to, as there's a chance if the score goes south, there are 3 nearby factions will get involved, either want the score or just to kidnap you all. There is The Hobbit in spy genre. Nice. Very cool. Thanks, Blake. That's good stuff, man.
Sandbaggers is another one, Blake.
Oh, that's right, Sandbaggers. I don't know if we mentioned Sandbaggers or not, but I remember we talked about that a bit this weekend with Kevin and the guys, and that was one that came up repeatedly in conversation.
Yep.
Very cool.
That you can find on YouTube. I don't think you can find it anywhere else.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right.
Next.
Thanks, Blake. Next one. Good afternoon, Brett and Sean. With the tantalizing concept of our favorite monster potentially being the subject of the next show, whoops, assuming something does not come up and changes it this week, too. Ha ha.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, all right. No kidding. So, moving on. But first, a little history. A few months ago, I talked with Brett about a game situation I was in because of the events that my players put into action. I had my players in my current game come across a town that was populated with wax constructs that fully believed they were humans. The town was run by an individual known as Lord Huntington, and he was too human. This may not seem too odd, but
he too was human.
He too is human.
No, he was too, and he too was human. Ah, yes, okay, never mind. Anyway, Lord Huntington's a human. Carry on.
Yes. This may not seem too odd, but in my game, there are no humans.
What?
They all disappeared in this world's history about 60 years ago. The wax people of the town, for reasons of xenophobia and settlement isolation, have not seen any other race of people in decades. Because of this, the group was imprisoned for social safety and for the group's safety. My group of players were not too happy about this, but they played along with when one wax guard explained everything to them. Another group in this town are a patrol of 6 wax paladins of the human religious order, which act almost like religious police. The guards keep the people safe. These paladins keep the people safe from themselves. These paladins have enough power in this town that they can go anywhere they deem without Lord Huntington's okay, except in the Lord's Tower. They may only enter the courtroom, and that's it. The big deal in the town is this. There are outsiders in town that are not humans, and if the paladins find out, there will be big problems. So after a bit of panic in the holding cells, one member of the group was attacked and infected with mind-controlling moss. The group called for the local priest for aid, and while the priest was present, the group tried to escape. This caught the attention of the paladins and ended up pouring oil on one paladin's helmet, and it ignited the individual.
Wax. All the wax.
And melted the wax paladin, who ended up being a skeleton covered in wax in full plate armor. After torching 3 other paladins, the group made their escape with the priest, and when they were safe, they made a plan to return and assist the priest, and by extension the town, with getting rid of the paladins for good. Now, 6 sessions later, they returned to finish what they started. In the time they were gone, a cult rose up. In the time they were gone, a cult rose up of the wax people who learned of the melting incident. They were the cult of the cleansing flame, and they believed that the lord of the town had lied to them and that they could be set free if they were to give their lives to the flame. Fun, right? The cult stormed the Lord's tower with barrels of oil and torches. When they arrived, they caused such a large commotion, the paladins, back up to 6 members now, arrived to deal with the issue. This caused the cult leader to start throwing cups of oil all over everything and everyone, and soon his flock followed. Then one lit torch, and the tower was ablaze. About a week had passed in my game before the PCs decided to come back and find out about the turn of events and the monster of Huntington, which they came to realize was a large-sized monster that was made up of the melted cultist, the king's court, and the paladins. It was a large, partially melted beast that had sections of its body armored by full-plate armor and tower shields just under wax faces trapped in melted scenes of horror. Its head was a combination of wax and skeleton.
Sorry, keep going.
Its large, bulky arms ended in shimmering points of skeletal hands holding long swords wrapped inside a waxy, bulbous fist. My players were legitimately scared. As Brett's laughing over there. So I feel my favorite monster is the one you sell the best. If I had to go with a type, I'd go with either construct of undead. Both offer fun, creative possibilities, and I feel both are severely underutilized. There's more to constructs and undead than iron golems and zombies. Oh, go with either construct or undead. Love the show, guys. Keep being awesome. Can't wait till Game Hole. Hoping both of you can play in my Shadows of the Demon Lord game, The Harvest of Boima.
Damn.
VC Young.
Very cool. Thanks, VC. That's good. Yeah, VC and I had talked about the wax people thing and the rampant creepiness thereof. So that's cool, man. That is very well done. And I got to say, as I said, spoiler, I've got a different topic for today. But I swear to God, or whatever God, that we will talk about monsters next. And I do believe that a piece you forecasted here, selling it is a big damn thing when it comes to monsters. So kudos to you, VC. Very good stuff. All right. Next up is Ron Bishop. Left us a comment about Cold Shadows. And you guys mentioned the succinctness of Cold Shadows. It contains 130 pages. That's great. So many RPGs have too many pages covering every little thing and some more. Holmes D&D had 48 pages. Metamorphosis Alpha has 38. Gamma World First Edition 60. Esoterras 88. Top Secret New World Order 124. And many good games have less than 100. All these include rules, how to play, weapons, and monsters encounters. When a Kickstarter advertises the vast quantity of content and stretch goals, it turns me off. There's only so many hours in a day. For the more efficient, the better. I'd rather have smaller, playable games with room for expansion, if needed, in future modules, articles, etc., instead of churning over the same 300-plus page book every few years. Keep up the great show. P.S. I find the narrative control aspects of this game very intriguing. Going to get a copy. Very cool. Awesome, Ron. There
it is.
Well, we sold one.
Yeah. Power of podcasting, man.
And they didn't even ask us to talk about it. We just thought it was a cool game we'd talk about. Very cool.
Yes, very nice. Thanks, Ron. And yes, mileage may vary, so note to self, send Ron a copy of Midgard, the campaign setting.
Whomp! I'll get him a hard copy of Astonishing Swordsman Sorcerer's Hyperborea, which is actually thicker than DCC. Good Lord.
Yeah.
No, I get it, dude. That's cool. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, and it's all good.
Sean and I, just as a quick aside before we jump into the main topic next, is we've been talking about different things to do. So if folks liked the Cold Shadows talk, even if it wasn't something that you'd want to hear all the time, if taking a look at a game system like that is something that you think is interesting in that type of format, the way we went through it, let us know. We'll be happy to do that type of thing again. Won't be something we have to do every week because that could get to be a bit much. But it's definitely something we had fun doing, and I would like to do it again if it's something that people would find worth listening to. So let us know.
Yeah, there's plenty of podcasts out there that cover different games. That is for sure. And we certainly don't want to become necessarily D&D podcast, though we do make a ton of references to the granddaddy of them all, because I think it's more of a common denominator than anything, really. But, there's also other games out there that we think that some people may want to just know that they exist and that they're a little bit different, and sometimes you can learn. I think sometimes you can learn from some of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
different approaches to rules and how to approach different scenes.
Even if you picked up Cold Shadow simply because you're like, man, I have this thing I want to do in a Cold War. How would I set up an agency? How would I set up a thing like that? Well, shit. It has all the right questions. It's got all the right stuff. Succinct, to the point. And if nothing else, I think it's like $15 on drive-thru. It's a good thing to throw in your PDF collection to pull up every once in a while as a reference doc. So it's good stuff. Awesome.
Yeah.
Shall we?
All right. Yeah, let's get into the main topic. All right, Brett. So, what are we talking about this week? Monsters?
No.
We're not.
Well, maybe. We'll see how it all goes.
Maybe it gets into monsters.
Maybe it talks about the monster that is me. No, I'm kidding.
No, Brett's a monster.
Hopefully not that bad. Anyway, So one of the things that happened amidst the fun and frivolity of our gaming weekend, which was a lot of fun, as I said, we've had my home gaming group, the guys I've been gaming with for like 25, 26 years now. I have noticed, and a couple other guys, something's not right. The crew, we've been having some weird conflicts, people not liking stuff. People who are usually fairly easygoing about things have been pissy about the stupidest shit. I've been getting angry.
Well, hold on. No, hold on now. You're talking about getting angry about the stupidest shit. Mm-hmm. Now let's be fair. It may be stupid to some, but not to all.
Exactly. You're going exactly where I am. Okay. So what's happening is that vision, he's doing this thing. Oh, that's just stupid. Why is he mad at this? Why is Brett upset about this? Why is this person doing this? Oh, they're just being a dick. Why is he doing that? And
it's because we're getting old.
Probably. But it came to a head recently where at the last Warhammer game, Roger Braslett asked me, because I tried to put up a community at first to chronicle kind of how the campaign itself was going. And I failed miserably at that. And one of the reasons why I just didn't have it in me to keep it accurate, and I kind of, partly I want to share this too, because I feel like I owe Roger and anybody else who's actually trying to watch that community a reason why it didn't happen. So one of the problems I was having was that I was having a good time with Warhammer. Most of the other guys seemed to be having a good time, but there is, or was, an underlying something wrong. And nobody was willing to talk about it, quite frankly. So what happened is one of our members got very upset and hurt by some betrayal activity that happened in the game.
Now, how is Roger involved?
Roger's only involved peripherally because he was trying to monitor the campaign. Like, hey, from the outside, I was supposed to be posting notes in this community and talking about it, and I did a little bit, and then I stopped. And Roger very kindly asked me, he's like, hey, is this community dead on Google+? I'm like, yeah, I should probably explain kind of what happened.
So the community is for your game group or just the game
The
itself?
community was for gaming BSers who were actually interested in following the campaign.
I see.
It completely fell apart. My bad.
And so for folks that were members of the group, they would be either your game group or spectators of the game.
That was the idea.
Gotcha. Okay.
So where was I? Oh, yeah, one of our members got there was some betrayal happened in the game, and kind of got pissed off about it. And we thought, that's stupid. Why should that person be angry? That doesn't make any sense. We used to play like this all the time. Well, the person who was hurt was grown up enough to say, here's the problem, and laid it out. And we all went, wow, I didn't know that. We're not the same we were 25 years ago. in our 20s, where you could, drink a bottle of wine, run a game of Vampire, and that's just what you did. Things have happened. People have changed. All right, cool. We'll adjust for that. Well, that gets the rest of us thinking, what else is wrong? Because that can't possibly be the only thing. And from my side of the screen, basically, I was starting to feel, it dawned on me, and I mentioned it to you and the guys this weekend, I feel really unfucking appreciated. Like, I drive 3 hours one way to run for you assholes, and somebody's pissed off at me, you don't like my game, you don't like game with me, but you don't have the spine to tell me to my face, fuck you guys. And I'm angry. I'm like angry. And I sat on it for a while, and I got a couple texts from the guys like, hey, why'd you kill the campaign? What are you doing about this? We should talk. I'm like, I'm not fucking talking to these people. I'm pissed. It's not happening. I get home. My wife's like, what's the matter? Something wrong? I said, well, I had a good time with the guys. We had a lot of fun playing Lords of Waterdeep. Had a really good time. It was great fun. She's like, no, what's wrong? So I explained to her what's up. She's like, so you going to call and fix it?
Wait a minute. So this bubbled up this past weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is why you were all kind of irked over on Saturday, right?
At the tail end of Saturday, I was irked.
Well, it's kind of was. I kind of thought, I'm like, Brett seems pretty kind of like perturbed at this point, and I'm like, maybe did I slip him a bad burger?
No, the burgers were good.
I tell him like, go pound sand in Waterdeep.
No.
Like, hey man, I'm kicking your ass so bad, and you got all pissy about it. So I didn't know that something else was in the mix, man.
Yeah. So that's the other piece, right? That kind of all comes down to we got to talk about stuff. So Susan says, "Are you going to call him?" I'm like, "No, fuckers can call me."
So what happened? How did this come to light Saturday?
So I get a text from one of the guys that says, "Hey,
it's a text message.
Hey, I'd like to run a Star Wars game next after you're done with Warhammer." Oh. I'm like, "Fine, fuck it. Y'all don't like my game? Dead. Campaign's dead. Fuck you guys. Play Star Wars." Because again, this has been building up for a while, and I'm angry now. And I do know, and my wife knows this, and she reminded me, that if I get mad enough, I have a burn it down, salt the earth approach to some problems. Which, as I learned from The Simpsons and Ned Flanders, it's not necessarily good at, as Homer Simpson.
Well, it's good that you're taking therapy lessons from The Simpsons.
That helps. Anyhow, so my wife knows I do that. So she said something. I'm like, nah, those fuckers can call me. Bastards.
Fuck those guys.
So I wake up Sunday and I'm like, I gotta call my friends. Because it sinks in while you're sleeping. Like, I've known these guys for almost 30. I've known most of them for over 30 years at this point. We've been gaming friends for 26. I gotta call these people.
Yeah, man, they're the super group.
Yeah,
man.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, you know what? I'll call the first guy. So I call the first guy and explain.
Now wait a minute. Before you go too down the road, like, has this all been, or maybe that's the suspense? Like, does everybody know that this is the deal?
Yeah, we've had the conversation.
This is not going to be a surprise to anybody when they listen to the show.
I don't think so. I'd be shocked.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if they were surprised.
Okay, I was just curious. Like, I won't mention any names.
No. So we talk about it,
okay.
and we start hashing it out.
Right.
And we're like, look, you need to call the other guy and really lay it out. I'm like,
Right.
Okay, cool. I'm going to do that.
So all these guys are going to be listening to the show going, yep, I know
They
that
don't
guy.
listen to us, dude.
That was me.
They don't listen.
They don't listen. None
to
of them?
I doubt it.
Really?
Highly doubt it. At this point, they hear me talk all the time. They don't need it anymore.
That's probably true. They're probably burned out on Brett's voice.
Yeah. Most like my children. Everybody else around, people I work with, people work for me. Anyhow, what it all comes down to is I was pissed off. I was hurt, honestly. I was emotionally really upset because it felt like my gaming group had turned their back on me. They didn't want me to run for them. They didn't want me at the table. And instead of saying something about it, instead of having the hard conversation, saying, look, what is wrong? What don't you like? What's going on? I just sat there and stewed on it for a month or two.
Oh, is that long?
Oh, yeah, you only get together once a month. So
I suppose.
You show up at the end of 1 month, you're like, God damn, what the fuck is wrong with those guys? Fine, they'll be better. And then you cool down. The next month shows up, and you're like, send them again. You get angry about it.
Yeah.
So the frustration, the anger, the hurt feelings, there were hidden opinions. One of my friends was saying, you know what, I should have said I don't like this sooner. I should have said, I'm not having any fun with this game. I like the story. I don't like the game system. I would rather we did something else. Hey, when you gave us options of which game to play, I should have voted the way I wanted to instead of just going with what everybody else wanted.
I see.
I said, okay,
Well, no, hold on. No, hold on. No, remember your thought.
Go ahead.
I don't
Go
wanna
ahead. That's all
I
right.
don't want to sidetrack you. But isn't it interesting that you've known these guys for as long as you have,
Mm-hmm.
right? And had the relationship and gone through, life events on and off, around and outside of gaming and all this other stuff, and they're still worried about saying something.
Yeah, I mean, we all were. I mean, I get worried too. Because you're like, oh man, Brett just changed jobs, a lot of high stress. Back when I got divorced, that was stressful. That was
Right.
like 15 plus years ago.
Right.
And hey, so and so is, they're pregnant, they got a baby coming. Oh, they're changing jobs. Oh, they're moving.
Yeah.
There's always stuff,
Right.
and you worry about hurting somebody or upsetting them. And what we did was basically we just crushed it down. And then you start talking to the couple confidants in the group. So-and-so's pissing me off. I hate it when he does that. You start having those conversations instead of the ones you should, which is with the which is either with the person specifically who upset me. Like I said, I've known these guys for like 30 years.
Right.
So I should talk to him, for Christ's sake. I see this person all the time, constantly talking to this person. Why am I not talking about this? And it was through that conversation that I'm like, okay, this is what we got to do. And at the end of things, it's fine. We came through, and one of the things that we realized in these conversations is that we're all a lot older than we used to be. And that means that there are things now in life that are much harder for us to have to deal with than we've had to deal with before. So my mom has early onset Alzheimer's. So depending on how it goes when I go up to my hometown to talk to the guys, hang out, game with them, if I go in, if I'm talking to my dad, like, hey, I'm coming up, I want to check in on you and Mom, see how things are going. And sometimes my dad's crying because he's so upset about Mom. And that's fucking stressful because I grew up, Dad's Superman, he's undefeatable. He's the strongest man in the world. He's your dad, And that's rough. I keep thinking, my mom's losing her mind. That's terrible. So that gets in your head and you think about that stuff. And then another friend of mine, his dad was sick for a while, got better. Somebody else, hey, their kid's having trouble about something. We got to figure that out. Oh, I can't show up to game tonight because, something at work hit me. And my buddy's getting crushed at work. He doesn't want to bring work to the game, but he shows up to the game after a 60-hour week, and he's exhausted because we're all in our 40s now, and we don't bounce like we did when we were 20. We also have responsibilities like fucking crazy compared to when we were 20.
Adulting.
Yeah, real honest to God adulting stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess we came up with some plans like, hey, one of the things we have is that when we get together to game, we used to do a thing where back when we were younger, I would show up Friday night, we go out to the bar, somebody is a designated driver, the rest of us get fucking hammered, and we just bullshit for a night. We pack in the driver's car, dump us off at home, sober up, and we would get back together to game at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And we did some variation on that theme. Always, it changed now. We're not that stupid anymore. But the, hey, how's it going talk has become that almost required friend therapy thing that we need and like to do for each other. So if I'm having a really fucked up time at work and something's pissing me off, or I'm thinking about changing jobs, not now, but back in the day when you're thinking about doing that, this is a group of guys that I've known forever that you want to talk about this stuff with. But you show up and you're like, you want to get right to the game and you want to go because you just drove 3 hours, well, let's game, let's go. And then 2 hours into a 4 or 8 hour session, somebody says something that reminds you of this other thing, and then you start digressing. You start talking about this work problem or some stupid thing with your kid at school. And not that the guys don't care, but they're like, oh, do you have to talk about it now? And a couple of us are like, well, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to talk about it now because you're my friends. Goddamn, why aren't you listening to me? So, but the guys are like, we could do this in a different format. We could make more time. Hey, maybe we get together sooner in the day. Instead of waiting till 5, 6 o'clock at night to game on Saturday, we all pretty much free up Saturday. Maybe we get together sooner in the day. Spend a couple of hours. Maybe we all go to lunch. Maybe we do something different. Let's make sure that we're doing that thing that we seem to crave and need. So that, one, it doesn't necessarily interrupt the game because we really take our gaming very seriously, but also crack into those pieces so that that frustration, anger, and those hurt feelings, which are all based on basically not wanting to drag something out, right? Not wanting to have the hard conversation. So I think it was really painful. It was not fun. I spent many hours on the phone on Sunday, but I think at the end of all things, it was absolutely worth it. It wasn't fun to have to say, hey, I think you and these other guys don't want me at the table anymore. Is that true? That's a hard thing to ask a bunch of people you've gamed with for 20 plus years. You know, why don't you like me anymore? Is essentially the question, and that's tough. That's a hard thing to say, and you know, it wasn't just Brett being the big guy. Oh, he's going to lead the charge. They all started. They're texting me. They're calling me. We're having conversations back and forth. So everybody went, you know, fuck all this. We're friends. We're not going to do something stupid here. Let's fix the problem. And I think there's the strength and credit to my group and my friends, just to pat us all on the back for a second, is that when we did realize that there was a problem and people started to crack, the texts go out, the phone calls happen. Call me. What's going on? We need to talk. Hey, I want to help you out. Let's get back together. Let's talk about this thing. And that's critical to keeping the group together. People have asked me over the years, how do you keep a group together for 26, almost 30 years? And this is one of those things. As you grow and you change and responsibilities in life hit you, when shit starts to break like this and you're all friends, you've known each other all this time, sometimes you've got to put in the extra time to do this type of thing. So I guess the moral of the story, Sean, is that oftentimes we'll talk about, you know, problem players, and we always say talk. You know, talk to the game master, talk to the players. What's going on? Why is this? Why is that? And I was becoming a problem player at my own table, right? I was becoming belligerent and angry with people because of reasons that had nothing to do with them, really. But it was all because of something that just wasn't being discussed. And I know it's kind of corny, touchy-feely, but it's true. We've got to talk about this stuff. Does that make sense? A little therapy for me there, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine, man. That's what this is all about, dude. I just kick back on the couch and
you can't see him, but he actually has a cigarette in one hand and a pencil. Yes.
I'm in a lounge chair with my pad of paper.
In Litterbox Studios.
That's right.
There we are.
Yeah, well,
do you have any questions?
The lesson I think I've learned is you just never question it, and you always just do what Brett wants. And you smile with a happy face, and you show up like this is the greatest game on earth, and it's no matter what the rules set. So when Brett whips out Fatal,
whoa, easy now.
You're like, yay!
Yeah, I want to play that. Nice.
Yeah, this is gonna be great.
Wow. Now you and I have to have a talk now. Look what you did.
Apparently, yeah.
Have you ever had anything like that? You don't have to dive deep, dude. It's not.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, I've gone through the therapy.
Okay,
already,
I just want to check. I just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, I've moved on to
drinking,
medicine, drugs, alcohol. There are guys. See, so I grew up, and I mentioned this on the show a few times. There's guys that I know that I've known as long as Brett, or maybe a little bit longer. We could compare sizes, but nonetheless. But I don't game with a lot of those guys now for a few different reasons. I think it's, they found what they like to do, and I've got what I like to do, and sometimes it just doesn't align. But we don't have any ill will feelings to each other. We don't. We tried gaming for a while. That's how I got back into the hobby, but now everybody's got different schedules and different things going on, and even just more focus. But I've got other people I game with now, so I don't know if it's like growing out of a game group. And the reasons that may come about vary. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there's a sense of fear about it, because I think that's why sometimes people hang on to game groups that they don't gel in.
Yeah, there's
over time.
That was actually part of what hit me was I'm like, I could do the fuck you guys. I have other people play with me. I mean, I could find other people to game with.
True. Right.
But
Well, so we had this debate, right? But me and my personal friends, because we grew up. I mean, Jesus Christ, I played baseball with Jeff when he was, like, I mentioned Jeff on this show before. I've known Jeff since I was 5 or 6. And I'm no spring chicken now, ladies and gentlemen. And he's the only guy, I said this, he's the only friend of mine that knows when he knew my parents when they were actually married. And I don't think there's a single single friend that can say that I know. And as we grew up and they got me into D&D and role-playing games. And the thing is that we would kind of debate this piece where do you get together with your friends because they're your friends and gaming happens to be that thing that just brings you together so you can hang around each other? Or is it you like to game and you like to game with those people because you just know them and your kind of trump is your trump card for those that play euchre, and for folks that don't know, hey, just bear with me.
Nice.
But is it the game that the gaming that you want to do, and that the friends are there, but there are other friends as well. And so as things went on, because we would say, we would want the combination. I want to play with these guys or girls, and we want to play this game, and that's great. But I think, but there's always a person that may not show up, or it kind of crumbles. You get a new player because one person can't show up, and then you get into the game, and it's really not the game you want to play. So, like, expectations, I think, as we grow older, are higher. I think that's in general. That's why a lot of shit doesn't age well, right?
Yeah, and we've talked about, our free time is more precious.
Very, very, yes, very good point.
And that was part of my my heartburn, right? As I said, I drive 3 hours one way to hang out with people, and then to not have them want to be there, you feel like, really?
But you don't prep, Brett, so who gives a shit?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. But you don't prep.
Man.
Because, see, Brett could say, I drive 3 hours, I prep for 2 days. See, you can't play that card, where most of us have to.
Nice.
Like, hey, man, I prepped for this game.
Whatever, my feelings matter.
They do.
I know.
And the whole lesson of this episode is that I'm going to title this,
Brett has feelings.
Brett has feelings. Brett has a heart.
I do, indeed.
That only took 194 shows.
Yeah, and
but we broke him down, ladies and gentlemen. We broke him down. He's caved, and he's human.
Well, so jokes about feelings and such aside, which I know some people may find a little, not quite.
It's
nice,
a little humor. That's all.
Taking
a serious topic and just kind of like
levity.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, there's one of the things that I've always felt is very special about my group is that we have a really cool mix where, hey, we've been in each other's weddings. We have, shown up the day after the kids are born. We always, hey, so-and-so is going to be there. Hey, I'll go to the karate tournament to see your kid. Or, I'll go do that. Hey, I'll help you move. I want to, be part of a gaming convention. Fine, I'll do that too. Because you're doing it, I'll help you do that thing. So we have a good friendship outside of the game as well. And I think that dangerous is too strong a word, but I think the tensions become perhaps even more so sometimes when it gets weird or when something's wrong. More is at stake, perhaps is a better way to put it, simply because it's not just, I don't just go up there to game with them. I go up there to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And we get together once a month because we care about each other. We're as close as family as you can get without being family. So it does make sense that, if you're part of a family, you haven't had a family drama yet, you good for you. But it makes sense that you're going to have these moments where you've got to get together and talk. And I would say even if, excuse me, very much excuse me, even on a lesser level, Sean and I are gaming with Kevin, and we've got, a third person, a fourth or fifth person playing with us, and there's a problem. It behooves us to talk to that person instead of everybody trying to sweep the thing under the rug, everybody trying to just make nice, or it'll work, it'll be okay. There's levels of what people are able to tolerate or willing to tolerate, but I think my case is probably very extreme, at least it was for me. But it was definitely, if not, even if it's, you take the friendship component, well, I can't take the friendship piece out, but it was worth every difficult few hours I spent on the phone on Sunday to have those talks. It was absolutely worth it. And I think it's worth putting the time in to have the conversation. We were ready to say, you know what, if this doesn't work, if I don't want to, if you really don't want me there, okay, I just need you to say so. And we were, no, that's not the case. Let's talk about this, because dead serious. If you guys want a game and not game with me, I can take a break and come back. We could do something different. Do you want to run a game I don't give a shit about? Maybe we do something different. So we talked about all different permutations and so on of that. And I think it was like I said, a deep, hard conversation, but it was worth having.
Do you think, Brett, because I think sometimes in certain situations when they're really kind of tense, there's a lot kind of at the table. Do you, I mean, and this is not a judgment call on any of the people involved by any means, but, you know, it can be very difficult for people to be completely honest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because we don't want to crush somebody, or we don't want to convey something where that person feels crushed. We may not think it's that soul crushing, but we know that that person may misinterpret it, whatever the scenario. So having gone through what you did this past weekend in that group, do you think that everybody knows exactly where everybody stands and everybody's been very candid and very open so that in 2 weeks there isn't something hidden?
So I think we're probably 85 to 90% there. So when we get together next time to game, we talked about it, and I'm like, look, I didn't get everybody on the phone. So some people are like, it's, you know, we can figure this out or whatever. So how do I say this? So basically what's going to happen next time we get together, we're going to say, look, here's the deal. Here's where we're at. This is what we talked about. A couple of you weren't available. I need everybody up to speed. This is where the group is at right now. I don't want anybody to be mad. I don't want any hurt feelings right now. Let's just talk about this. Are we cool? Are we good? Are we ready to, like, can we move on? You know? Right. And I told them all, I said, I'm going to kill the Warhammer campaign. I said, it was fun for a while. It had some really cool, very fun moments. But it became kind of, that event was kind of a lightning rod piece. And I said, let's just kill it. It's a fucking game, man. We can cancel that campaign, play a different campaign for a while. I'll let somebody else run. I don't care. I'll play Star Wars. I don't care. I mean, I don't like Star Wars much, but hey, it's with my friends. I'll game something, you know. I'll just sit on the ship and shoot stuff.
Well, and is that acceptable, Brett? Because you say that.
Oh, yeah. No, because
you know what I'm saying, though. You know where I'm going.
No. I totally get it. Yeah. It's
kind of like, well, I don't really like it, but fuck it, I'll play it anyway.
No, because I had the conversation with the guys, and I said, look, you know, I'm just going to treat it like a con game. I'm going to come in and treat this like a convention event. You know, I want to try this game. I haven't played, I think they want to play West End Game Star Wars, which I have not played since high schoolish. I'm like, you know what? Let's go. I've not played this in forever. Let's just take it for a run. And let's see how it goes. If I don't like it, I'll bow out. They're like, yeah, that's cool. The guy who wants to run it said, that's totally fine, but if it's not your thing, that's fine. No hard feelings. So we're going to talk all that out. We're going to talk about all that stuff and make sure everybody says their piece and make sure everything is clean. Now, is there potential that you don't get it all out? Right? Yeah, it's there. There's always the chance that somebody has something they don't want to talk about. And that's fine and that's fair. You know, not everybody wants to say, hey, this is a personal problem I have, and that's coloring what's happening to me right now or how I'm treating you guys. I'm not saying that's the case. I don't even know if that's the case. But if it is, some people may not want to do that, and that's fine. I think, though, that just by a number of us recognizing and talking about the thing out loud with the whole crew and saying, look, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. We want to make sure we're still having fun, having a good time. Here's what we want to do. What do we think as a group if we take these steps, get together a little earlier in the day, maybe get together Friday night and have dinner, just go to lunch on game night or game day, go to lunch first, hang out, go to the Great Dane up in the hometown, get a beer, get a burger, hang out for a bit, and then go to the game. Maybe we do that. But put a plan together that everybody's willing to at least try. And we could get to a point where I may say, you know what, I really, honest to God, I don't like Star Wars enough, I'm not going to play. Is that okay? and bring it up. And if somebody gets upset by it or whatever, you don't want to kill the group. But I think by talking it all out with enough history that we have, I think it's a solvable problem. I think because we grabbed onto it early enough, even though we let it fester for a couple months, we realized there was a problem, dove into it, and I think it's solvable. And everybody wants to solve it. We don't lie to each other very well, which is one of the reasons why we could all tell there was a problem. When you're hiding something, we've known each other for too damn long. You can tell there's something up. So I think it's solvable. Does that answer your question?
It does. I just wanted to make sure because, not.
Don't want to come back here all upset again, do you?
Well, no. I mean, it's fine. It's all good. I think you handle it any way you can, but it's just some people, you don't want to hurt people's feelings. I think a lot of people inherently, there are people that do that, but I don't think they're self-aware. And so they don't get the social cues. They don't understand that. And frankly, they probably don't have a lot of good friends because they're just too crass. They're too harsh. Some appreciate it, but at the same time, if you go to them for advice, it might be great, but it may not be go to them. Some people just want to, hey, I want to just vent. I want you to say yes, even though you may not agree with me, because I just want to be self-assured.
Yeah, I need to be heard. I don't need you to solve this problem. Just listen to the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
And I know somebody probably has listened to this and thought, fucking A, Brett, shut up.
Well.
And somebody else, which they probably think all the time anyway. And somebody else has probably heard it and said, well, I think what you should have done was X, or perhaps there's a better way to account for it. And this is where I've known this group for a long time. So I think what we're trying to do and how we're going to go about it, some of it's kind of private, so I don't want to talk about all the uber gross-ass details. It's nobody else's business. But
no.
I think what we're going to do makes sense and fits what we want to do. And I guess at the end, I encourage everybody listening, if you're having anything similar, go talk about it. I've talked to other people who've asked me offline from here, I'm having trouble with X. And I'm like, well, just simply go talk to them. And it's very easy. It's an easy thing to say.
It's an easy statement.
A very easy statement to make because it's a very true statement. But it is hard sometimes, very, very hard to pull off. Especially with people you've known for a long time, you've been friends with since the last time your parents were married. It can be hard to have that discussion. But it's, anyway, in my opinion, it's worth trying, at least. So, anyway, that's all I had. Next week, we'll talk about something fun and not depressing. So.
Well, I think it's a sense of, Brett, you are not the only one that has ever happened to have.
Oh,
this
absolutely not.
Right.
It's just one of those things where I thought, I should bring this up, just because it's not just me, and I think it's worth. It's worth.
Or it is. I mean, it's happened to you. You've gone through it, and so some people are probably maybe they don't know what to do or how to do it, and or you don't want to be dismissive.
No, you don't, and that's you're right. It's a fine line to walk, and but I think it's definitely worth talking about, and I think when I say talk about it, all the conversations that I've had have been open, honest. There's no yelling. There's no name calling. There is, you did X, and that caused me to feel a certain way. Let's talk about that thing.
Yep.
It was not, you hurt me, you fucker, right? It's your fault, I'm mad at you. Say you're sorry. That attitude, all of us who've had conversations talked about it, and we were very clear that we're trying to solve a problem here. So we're not here to blame, hurt, and slam and tear the other guy a new ass because they may have made a mistake they didn't even understand that they made. Right? So it was it's an intelligent discourse back and forth, as intelligent as we get anyway, and respectful. And I think respectful is key. Respectful conversation has gotten us from a very rocky spot in my gaming group and my friends' setup to what I think is going to be a much better place at the end. So all good, hopefully.
I have a question for you, Brett.
Yeah, man.
So I know these are your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I know nobody's questioning that. I know you've gamed with them a long time.
I dare you to question that. No, I'm kidding. Go on.
But do you feel? I guess if you didn't have those guys, you would still game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If for some quite honestly horrible reason that group fell apart, that didn't exist. It's going to happen at some point. Someone's going to die, right? Move away, not be able to. Something's going to happen.
But what if somebody came up to you and said they just don't want to game with your group?
Okay. I've had that happen before, and they've left.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I guess my point is that there could come a day where maybe it's crazy. Maybe it's just completely not even a possibility. Like it's to even think of it is ridiculous. But there could become a day where you guys just don't game together.
Yeah, that's possible.
Or for whatever reason.
If that happens, I like
That doesn't mean you guys are any lesser friends.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
Absolutely not. I've got guys I used to deer hunt with that I don't deer hunt with anymore. I've got guys I used to ride motorcycle with that I'm still friends with. I don't ride motorcycle anymore. I
Right.
still talk to Henry. You've ridden bike with Henry and I and Henry's still a great guy. No intention of not being friends with Henry, and all that
Right.
stuff. So there's no reason that would change. We could easily just find a different group to game with, though, if I had to.
Right. So that's been the situation I've had occur.
Yeah.
Where, so I had a game group that, for me to say that I brought them all together might be a little over the top, but I think I've played an instrumental role with creating a group, and some have moved on. But that a lot of the core members of that group are still gaming, and I'm not with them. And now it's a little different situation because I haven't known them for 20, 30, 40 years.
But still, there's a sense of, no, I get where you're going.
Well, so, I ran into them at GameholeCon.
Oh, okay.
In November, and a majority of them showed up. No animosity towards them. I think there's something in the back of my brain that kind of wonders a little. I know why I wasn't originally gaming with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I know the catalyst, but there was a point where I kind of went back to those guys and said, "Hey, I'm kind of done sitting on my ass and being without a game. So, you guys got a chair at the table." And now, not to make up and be disillusioned or make up some weird story, but as far as I know, it was kind of like, it wasn't like, hey, everybody's standing at the doorway rolling out the red carpet, welcoming me in with a platter of champagne and hors d'oeuvres.
Which is the only proper way to welcome Sean, by the way.
Note to the folks that are out there. But yeah, we've kept in touch somewhat, but I don't like hold that against them. I do have that question, like, hey, like, did you guys just fed up with me or whatever the case is, or, I don't know. They continue to game as far as I know, but, I've moved on.
We've talked about this before, is that if you have a shitty gaming group, it's not easy, but it's easier now, in my opinion, than it ever has been, to find a new group. There's Roll20, there's Google Plus communities, there's a Game ABS community for crying out loud. You can find somebody out there to game with. You can. Yep. Hell, Hobbs will run a game for you. They'll run a game for anybody.
Yeah,
little bugger.
You can play with Hobbs.
At the very least.
Kick in a couple bucks to his Patreon,
and you're in. But anyway,
in.
point is that you can find online games now a lot easier than you ever could before. You can find very good online games now. It doesn't mean that it's still easy. It's easier insofar as that it's simpler to find new groups. Sean and I talk about back in the day, if you lost your group, you were without a group. You were just fucking done. There were 6 guys and maybe 2 women you knew in all of high school that gamed, and if they didn't want to play with you, you were fucked. There was nobody else to play with. So, excuse me, until you moved away to college and made new friends and finally admitted that you were a gamer. So anyhow, that doesn't make it hurt less, and that doesn't mean that there aren't questions and so on. But I think that if something were to happen and my group didn't want to, couldn't anymore, or, if I couldn't make it, I'm the guy that drives the farthest. If there was a job change or something happened, I could not physically make it, I'd be like, carry on without me. I'll just keep gaming down here. Tell me how it's going and do your thing, guys. I bear none of them any ill will, and I think that they should just, if for some reason we had to part ways, it would really suck, and I'd be pretty bummed out. Won't lie. But I'd still game. I wouldn't give up the hobby. All right. Shall we?
Yeah, let's get into die roll.
Roll it up.
All right. D-roll. So I got a few this week.
Yeah, and I got nothing. I was too busy venting my spleen, apparently. I'm sorry.
So, that's all right, Brett. Numero uno, How Tolkien Created Middle-earth. An article on The Guardian by Samantha Shannon. Check that out. Pretty interesting read. It's kind of, I think, isn't it kind of one of those, Sean, didn't you read it?
No, I was going to say, I love Tolkien, so I see this stuff and I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. I have seen a number of different how he created, what he did type of things. So I haven't had a chance to parse through this, but I'm curious to dive into it a little bit simply because it's interesting to see if there's anything new or different.
Well, I think, didn't Chris Tolkien put out stuff like books?
Yeah, Christopher Tolkien put out a number of different things around it. So
about like, hey, these were really meant to be like this, but they ended up being like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember vaguely Noldor elves being called gnomes at one point and various other things. There's some of the ancient texts of the times. But yeah, no, it's interesting, if nothing else, to see the creative process or how things have changed or what they were. And the other thing that could be fun, if you want to take a really pure gamer approach to it, is talk about a cool way to make Middle-earth your own. Find an original piece. Take the Middle-earth setting. High elves or gnomes. Okay, what does that mean in D&D? It means this thing now. Now it's this race. You could take this stuff and you could turn it into something. You could make it a gameable alternate history. You could do an alternate history of Middle-earth if you wanted to with this type of stuff. So the potential's there if you want to put the work into it, I think.
Number 2, Dungeon Decisions by Sursa Victory on Twitter. So Sursa Victory posted this Google document. I think they post every once in a while. They'll make something for their game or campaign or reference sheet or whatever, and they'll just post it on Twitter and say, here, this is what I came up with, so if you want to use it, go ahead.
This is cool. Things like, resource trade, dilemma, blind decisions, handcuffing decisions, choice of actions now versus later. Ah, cool. Nice. I like that. That's good stuff, dude.
Yeah. Third one, if you've been living under a rock and not tuned in with the news.
Gaming news,
and you're listening to this a year later, Wizards of the Coast announced a new adventure path called Dragon Heist. Is one book. I think that's going to take you to 5th or 6th level, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
And then Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, I think will take you from like 6 to 20.
Yeah, all the way to 20. That was the most thing. Oh my god, I can get to 20th level. And honestly, Brett's first thought was, fuck me, what, 20th level? Oh my, I've never played a character at 20th level. That's crazy.
And for those of you that are not familiar with Waterdeep in the dungeon, it was the biggest dungeon underneath the city that had ever been at that point, I think.
Yes, it was.
So it's going to be a huge dungeon crawl, apparently.
I've got the original box sets that they put out, Undermountain and Undermountain 2. I pull them out from time to time when I need a big chunk of something.
Right.
They make, if you've got a city, like, I needed some maps for the city beneath the city for Avalon and whatever. Like, hey, here's a good thing. Whomp. You pull that sucker down. Many ages of dungeon crawling fun.
Yeah, so look for that. I don't know, later this year, I imagine, 2018. The last one, Dungeons and Dragons Art and Arcana, which is featured on Gizmodo. So they're releasing an art book of art from Dungeons and Dragons, and there's multiple authors that are involved in that book. It's very pretty and nice looking. So if you're looking for something for the coffee table or your library, you'll want to check out this link. I don't know the release date. It's by, what's the publishing house? It's a big one.
Looking
Random
at
House?
I
think it's Random House.
Penguin Random House.
Penguin
Random House, yes.
Yeah. So there's that one. And then the last one, Josh Eves posts virtual cities to the Google Plus community. It's a book by Konstantinos Demopoulos. Boy, man, if that person is not Greek,
They missed their calling.
they've got a unique name for a non-Greek individual. But yeah, Konstantinos Demopoulos. Yes, looks like a cool book. Has to do with cities.
Imaginary cities of video games. Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at the inside. It's got like the cityscapes. Picks up stuff from like Half-Life, Fallout, Silent Hill. Neat. And some of those maps are just plain. I mean, I love maps. They're fun to look at and talk about some good inspiration stuff. That's really cool. That's awesome, yeah. Josh. Good job, man.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. All right. I think that wraps it up for this week. Brett, you got anything else?
No, I'm good, man.
All right, you're good. Are you like good?
I think I'm as good as I get right now. It's all good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, as long as you came on and you're leaving better than when you started.
I always do. It's a good show.
Me too. What are we talking about next week, Brett?
Well, next week we're gonna excuse me. We're actually talking about monsters.
Now, come on, Brett.
I swear to God, nothing else.
Come on, Brett.
So
don't lie to the BSers.
And the reason I know it's true because I'm giving Sean homework right now. Sean, pick a monster.
Oh God! Right now?
No, what? No, pick one for next show.
Okay.
Pick a monster. Bring that sucker, and we'll break it down. You'll take your monster. I'll take mine, and we're gonna talk about ways we like to juice that sucker up, change it up, modify it. How do you and to steal a little from VC Young, how do you present that monster in such a way that your players go, damn, that was the coolest yellow musk creeper I've ever seen?
Boy.
Yeah, that's what I want. Bring your monster A game, brother. It's coming.
Okay. Well, excellent. Because I was going to say, don't BS a BSer.
I won't. They
right.
know it.
They do know it. You can smell that stuff a mile away. All right, well, so this has been another episode of Gaming and BS. I'm Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.
This episode of Gaming and BS brought to you with the help from the following patrons. BSers. Mark, CMG, Clover, Andy Hall, Corey Wynn, Graham Meinert, Joe Swick, Brett's biggest fan, Forrest Gary, Mark Anthony Benedetti, Eric Jeppesen, Sean Nicholson, Tim Jensen, Palladian, Remy Bellodo, Jason Hobbs, Wayne Humfleet, James Carpio, Pure Mongrel, Lord Tentacle, Corey Johnson, Brandon Barnes, Dan LaValle, CW Mellencamp, The Lost Sailor, Misdirect Mark Productions, Christopher Gray, Finolf, Mirko Froelich, Eileen Barnes, Tony Sugarloaf Baker, Todd Crapper, Alexander Auerbach, Neil Benson, Chris Steele, Eric Hoffman, Kyle Winter, Curtis Takahashi, Mark Tasaka, Larry Hout, Ray Otis, Ron Bishop, Craig Huber, Xavier, GJV, John Hammersley, Cloud Schemer, John Steve Jaresher, Mark Richmond, Thomas Hook, Blake, Ryan, Chad, Gleeman Sky, Roger Braslett, Evan Harrison, Cass, Craig, Howard Bishop, Jim Fitzpatrick, Peter Skanes, The Knights of the Night Crew, Josh Wallace, Corey Welch, Eli Kurtz, Kateri Turtianen, Edwin Nagy, Bruce Cunnington, Aaron Coleman, Tim Short, Stefan Dragonspawn, Agonegas, Rolfer Guild, Gordon Cranford, Eric Salzwell, George Sedgwick, Kevin Lovecraft, Matt Cyberlick, Jack Neller, Robert Nemeth, and Eric Bontz. For ways to support the show, head over to gamingnbs.com/support-us. Also, check this episode out on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, even if you don't watch the videos. Subscribe, get notifications. You can always pick it up there. It's a new initiative for us. Kinda. We have the old episodes audio up there, but now we're putting up the video with our talking heads up there that you might find interesting. Thanks, BSers!
This has been a Litterbox Studio production.